up this brother here. We got a super chat from Manny. Says Central. I guess Central's in the chat, guys. Central, what's so funny? Get up on stage and tell us your jokes.
Hello.
Central's in the chat. Okay. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Uh,
Good.
I want to be very clear before we say anything. I
Yeah.
am no scholar. I
Neither am
reverted
I,
it.
man. We in the same boat.
Yeah, I reverted it like 5 months ago or something. But I want to
Mm.
state that I have not read the entire Quran,
Okay.
and way less when it comes to Hadith. But what I'm very good at, most knowledgeable at, is ideology, if so to speak, like the ideology of, say, monotheism. You know,
Okay.
the how we are judged, like when do we go to heaven or hell upon these things. So you're gonna present your problems with that, and I will try to answer. Is that cool?
Sure. So you've been a Muslim for 5 months. What made you convert to Islam?
Well, first of all, I to be clear, I was born Muslim, but I didn't practice it
Ah.
ever. It's just basically zero belief, right? But
Uh,
recently, I just got I the ideology for me makes sense, and I want to know why you may not agree with that. I try to have answers and stuff.
okay, bro. Let me just say this, I guess. Um there are things about Allah that I think disqualify him for being God. God has, quality. He's benevolent, he's just, right? He is all powerful, all knowing, this type of stuff. There's nothing evil within him, right? Would you agree? There's no evil, there's no sin. He's just, he's loving.
Sure.
This is who God is. These are some qualities of who God is. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So I see some qualities of Allah um that do not fit the God of heaven and earth. Like, so one big thing for me is that there are qualities that I would see most likely of Satan that seem to match the God that's described in Islam.
Oh, that's a big claim, but hit
I
me with
know.
it. Hit me with it.
Okay, so for example, who is it that tempts us to sin or wants us to sin?
Well, I'm gonna. Do you ask this question as, of course, as Satan, the devil? But I
Yes.
just want to be very clear that humans have free will to do right and good either way.
Right.
That's to be clear.
Of course. Right. Satan can't make us sin. He can influence us, or right. He wants us
Yes.
to sin and he wants to influence us to sin and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. I get that 100%. My thing is that in Islam, it's not really Satan who wants it. Well, I wouldn't say it's not him totally. He does want us to sin too. But ultimately, it's Allah who wants us to sin, bro. And
Damn.
so
Why do you
I'll
say that?
show you that in a second, because that's huge. It's huge for me. So if we go to, um, I used to have the keyword so I could put this up easily. Let me think of it. Um, let's put erase you from existence. Are you Sunni, by the way?
Yes, I'm from the Sunni, but I don't like the label. Okay, there's only one Islam.
But there's not though. There's definitely not more than or only one
I mean,
Islam.
I don't consider. Yeah, I don't consider them a true Islam. Just to be clear.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So those who are not Sunnis, you're saying they're not real Muslims.
Yes, because if you don't follow God's word and the hadith, you are ordered to. So by default, you do kufr.
Yeah. Okay. I respect your honesty. Replace. All right, here it is. Let me see. All right, boom, 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 boom. All right, yeah. So here it is. So this is Sahih Muslim 2748B. Hold on, let me do this here. Let me let's do it like this. I don't know. Let's zoom this in. What just happened? All right. Can you see this? Can you see it on the screen? The hadith on the right.
Yeah.
All right. So it says, Abu Huraira reported Allah's Messenger having said, "By Him in whose hand is my life." Oh no, there's a noise on your end, bro. What's that? Is that a car or something? A truck backing up? Bro, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's a beeping noise. Is that
Yeah.
like a?
I'm next to the balcony. I'm a third world country. If it's bother you, I can just mute and talk whenever you want me
Oh,
to
I
talk.
got you. I got you. Yeah. So just mute up while I read this, and then you can unmute when you talk. Okay. So it says Abu Huraira reported Allah's Messenger having said, "By Him in whose hand is my life, if you were not to commit sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence, and He would replace you by those people who would commit sin and seek forgiveness from Allah, and He would have pardoned them." So if you don't commit sin, Allah will destroy you and replace you with people who will commit sin so that you seek forgiveness, and then He'll forgive you.
Obviously, I'm not well versed in the hadith, but naturally, no one is an angel. You have to sin hypothetically. So, no one, if God will really destroy someone who didn't sin, it's impossible because no one never sins. So,
Yeah.
when you mean, but by destroys, like maybe it's just like it's not a
It's
proper,
it's a
you
threat.
know.
It's a threat. It says He'll sweep you out of existence if you don't sin.
But you can't be threatened by something you can't even do. Like
That's what makes this false.
no,
What?
it's the opposite. You can't not sin because everyone is just at some point sins. So like
Well, but do you see here that if you don't sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence and replace you with people who would sin. So do you
okay.
see how Allah is showing what He wants? He wants people who are sinful rather than people who don't sin.
Yeah, so if you when you put it like that, I obviously do not agree with this ideology. But
Mhm.
uh, I want to state two things. As I said, I am not very versed in the hadith,
Yeah,
and secondly, you have to realize that this. I want to ask a question.
sure.
I'm asking you. I know it's or what ought to ask you about my religion, but does it say here that is it's an order like, oh, do not sin, like is
Well, this is what it says. It says
it doesn't seem like it. Like,
it's really just a threat. It's a threat. If you don't sin, Allah will sweep you out of existence and replace you with people who would, so that they seek forgiveness and Allah would forgive them. So it's not an explicit order to sin, but it's a threat that if you don't, He's gonna get you. He wants you to sin, and then He wants you to seek forgiveness for your sins, and He'll forgive you. But He wants you to sin. If you don't, He'll wipe you out of existence. This right here is dangerous. You can you probably don't you're muted in case you're calling.
yeah, I know. I just have the noise. So I again talking from a perspective of say agnostic monotheists.
Agnostic monotheists. So like
Yeah,
people who don't know who the true God is.
yeah, like their ideology is that would be the ideology everyone should have in a world without gods that sent us guidance. But obviously, we don't live in this world, right? We have religions. So I want to know how this ideology of again you showed me a good example. I'm not gonna argue that because again I don't understand it. For every argument on the internet, you must see a counter argument and a counter argument for the counter argument and so on. Like I'm not gonna take it from you. I mean, you should do the other way. You know, if you really want to research something, you have to like do the zigzag. If that makes sense. Uh, but
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
I think this is pretty clear, bro.
no, I this is not pretty clear, especially when you like because this is if you really wanted an answer for this, you would have asked on the internet. You know, maybe someone would have. Because
You
again,
don't you don't think I've talked to knowledgeable
no,
Muslims on this?
are you saying this as a question? Are you asking because you want to know, or are you saying this because you
No.
want to break my faith?
Well, no, I'm just showing you. You asked me what my problem is with the ideology of Islam, right, or the God of Islam. This is my problem. My
Yes.
problem is that Allah cannot be God because He desires evil. He desires sin. God does
How
not
does he
desire sin
how does he desire it if you
because
cannot?
He says that if you were not to sin, He would destroy you and replace.
Okay,
And here it is, and
I think
replace you
your
with
wording
who will
your
sin.
wording of destroy your wording of destroy. So I have a good example. You know, the angels. I don't know what the concept of angels is for you in Christianity, but for
Mm.
us, angels are beings that cannot sin. They are perfect obeying God.
Right? They don't have free
So
will to sin.
if he really wanted to, like he would just if he really wanted perfect beings that can worship him, you could have just had the angels exist, but that's not what humans are for. So by that, you wouldn't need to, yeah, keep them existing if they really weren't, if they really like the angels. Does
Right.
that make sense?
So
What's
you're
the point
saying,
of creating the humans if they're not going to be humans?
well, so you're saying that He creates us. Hold on, yeah. So He creates us for the purpose of sinning, unlike angels. Angels are just basically spiritual robots who worship God without free will. So there's no real relationship there. But human beings, He creates with the ability to sin. And then if they do not sin, though, He'll just erase them because they'll just be angels anyway, right? If they
But
choose not
you
to sin.
can't. I say what you mean, but you can't be an angel. It's not a matter of if. It's literally impossible. But to answer your question, like we potential our potential as and this is why the test of life is as it is you have the option to do right and wrong. When you do right, choosing to do right, you're better than an angel. Choosing to do bad, you're worse than the devil.
Well, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say you're worse than the devil. You're not paying attention to the language here.
But
For
are you
example,
saying this
but
specifics? I'm not talking about the specific passage you read. I'm talking about the ideology itself.
that's what I am. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the specific passages I read and why this shows that Islam is false.
Well,
Because
yes, you have to have
God
the
would never.
other.
Hold on, let me land this.
Okay, okay.
God would never desire you to sin. God cannot. He's good. He is goodness within itself. He is holiness. He is righteousness. So there can't be any desire in him for you to do wrong.
Yes,
That would
but
disqualify any being of being God, of holy, righteousness. There's an
yes.
imperfection. Do you get what I'm saying?
Again, it's not an. It doesn't seem like an order. And secondly, the opposite exists. So you have to at least downgrade this from a problem to a contradiction, because other hadith obviously like recommend you do good, as if this hypothetically recommends you do bad.
I wouldn't say it. Maybe it's a theological contradiction that there's encouragement for you to do good instead of bad, but this hadith encourages you to do bad so that you're not.
Encourages you.
Yes.
Let's read it again, man. Sorry, can you show it on the screen again?
Yeah.
Like saying it's order or that it encourages it,
Yes,
right?
it's a what's it called? It's a coercion. It's a
Can
coercion
you
to do bad.
scroll for the Arabic text by the way, so I can read it because
Oh,
I know
you read Arabic?
it's my name.
That's true. That's true. That was a silly question.
تذنبوا لذهب الله بكم. Says لو لم تذنبوا لذهب الله بكم ولجاء بقوم يذنبون فيستغفرون الله فيغفر لهم. says if you had not sinned, God would have just gotten rid of you.
Yep.
And if you had not, like it says if you had not, it's basically it's not an order. If you had not been this creature, this human,
But
you
what is
wouldn't
that?
be human.
What is that showing? No, it's not saying that you won't be human. What is it showing that he wants? What does he desire from you?
I don't see the wants part. I agree
Okay,
with
okay.
the
Well, let's try to simplify. Let's use another example. Let's say, I say, let's say you work for me, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you work for me. Let's say you work for me by answering calls. Okay, and I say, um, if you were not to answer calls, then I would get rid of you and replace you with someone who would answer calls,
you
so
meant
that I would
decline,
pay them.
right? You meant decline calls. Am I confused?
I'll say it again. Let's say you work for me in answering calls or whatever. That's your job or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's just say that's what you're supposed to do. All right. I say if you would not answer calls, then I would get rid of you and I would replace you with someone who would answer calls and I will pay them. What by my language and what I just expressed, what can you see that I want from you?
Yeah.
What do I desire from you?
I see what you mean. I have two things to say about this. Well, first, if you would really would replace me if I had not taken the calls, well,
Mhm.
I am human, so I already exist. You don't have to replace me. And secondly, you say you want me.
You're not answering the analogy. What am I saying? What am I expressing that I want from you? If I said that I would, if you don't answer calls, I'm gonna get rid of you and replace you with someone who would answer calls.
It says if you had not been, if it not doesn't mean that. It says if you had not been this type of creature, not if you don't do
It
this.
doesn't say any type of creature. It doesn't say anything like that. It says
No, I
if
mean
you were not to commit sin,
my bad.
he would sweep you out of existence and replace you with people who would commit sin.
If you not have a capability to commit sin,
It
it's
doesn't
not
say
an
anything
order.
about that. It doesn't say anything about capability or
The
anything.
Arabic, I don't want to like seem like someone who like deceives you, but this is what the Arabic interprets to me. If you don't trust me,
Are you
let's
saying
try.
interprets or is that what the Arabic says? I don't care about interpretation. Does it say what it says?
It's like, is this translate? I don't like. First of all, I don't like this translation, but I don't want to. I want to pull up the translation card. Oh, it's a mistranslation. But at the same time,
Yeah, please don't.
yeah,
Please
you
don't.
do get that, don't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
So, dude, just be real. What am I expressing my desire from you, man? If I say I will, if I say if you don't answer calls, I'm gonna get rid of you and replace you with people who will answer
Yeah,
calls.
my problem is the word
What am I
do
saying that I
not.
want from you?
Yes, you do not. It's hadn't you been a thing that does does not sin, not if you sin. That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say. That's not what it means.
All right. Does it say? Let me just be clear, because you're saying that the translation's wrong. Does it say if you were not to commit sin, he would sweep you out of existence? Does it say that in the Arabic?
It seems fast to me. I like if like I'm kind of fluent in Arabic. If you ask
So
chat,
does it say that?
it seems that to me. I don't want to like
Okay, so
appear
that's
as
what it says.
it's difficult to it's difficult to yeah, like, to
I don't
say
think
to tell
so.
you something that you don't
I think it's pretty simple. So it says if you were not to commit sin. So if you don't do this, I'm gonna get rid of you and replace you with someone who will do this.
what you just said. I would agree with you that is indeed wrong, but what I'm saying is that is not what I see it being wrote. That's what I not
Are you
interpreting yet.
so when you say that, are you saying that that's not how you interpret it? Or are you saying, yeah, it says
No,
that?
I'm
That's what
not
I'm saying.
stating that I'm a minority, by the way. I don't think
That-
I'm the
that-
only
that-
one
that's
who
not
would
what I'm
interpret it as
asking.
that.
Please
But
focus on
no,
what I'm asking you. Are you saying that, yes, it says what it says, however, I don't see it that way? Is that what you're
I
saying?
I don't see that it says what it says. But that's what I mean.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this here, man.
In your vision.
All right. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead. I
Okay.
gotta get ready for the next live anyway.
Goodbye, Shaykh.